This is hopefully the last in the series on this third Wren that I've been repairing. I will be posting other videos on the other two units that I'm still working on, but this doesn't belong to me and I wanted to get it back to the owner as quickly as possible. So I went through the testing, did lots of testing on the board, and following on from the previous video, I left the unit running overnight, so it ran for a full 24 hours without a single issue. I then ran a whole series of test programs. I'll show some of these in future videos when I'm testing the other two units, but I thought before I send this unit back to the owner that I'd just let you see it powered up and running the way it should actually be working. So we'll power it up. I'll put the operating system disk in first. We'll power it up. So as you can see, it's now powered up and it's ready to run the software. So just by way of demonstration, we'll start up basic. So we'll put in the programming software, select programming, and as you can see, basic is now running. I'll just enter a quick test program and just very briefly explain the sort of testing that I've been doing. There is still a slight issue with this machine in that the keyboards, the keys are still very dirty, so they are bouncing a little bit and getting multiple characters. It will get better as it's used. You could strip the keys down, but that can damage them. These aren't particularly robust keys. But as the units use, they'll clean up and it'll start to work. It's already working far better than it was. But anyway, I'll enter a test program. Okay, so we have a test program entered. We'll just run that. And as you can see, it's running. What this program does is it just tests the A to D converter on the board. And the reason I run tests like this, and normally I'd put this in a continuous loop and I'd get a scope onto the board, get the schematic out for the A to D converter. And in this case, what the test is doing is just performing A to D conversions on 3 of the A to D channels. The way the A to D is arranged on this machine is there's a single A to D converter and a multiplexer that connects the connectors, the 6 channels, but there's a multiplexer that connects those channels through to the A to D converter. So you can only do one conversion at once, but you can select which channel you want to have a look at. And so what the testing is for is this will cause the basic program to call the BIOS function that handles the A to D converter on the board. That in turn will activate the hardware, and then using a scope you can check to see what's going on and make sure it's all operating the way that it should be. And also, of course, you can look at the data that's appearing on the screen. So I attached pots to each of the channels, and then you can adjust that and make sure it works over the full range. And that's the sort of testing that I do with all the separate items on the main board. As I said in the previous video, once you get the operating system working, it's very easy to write very simple programs like this, and then you can trigger the hardware to do what it's supposed to, and then it's a fairly simple matter to use a scope or a logic analyzer to see if it's running the way it should be. So that's the system completed. And I have tested all the software that came with the unit, and it all seems to work the way it should. And it's been on SOC now since I assembled it for 4 or 5 hours, and it's all working fine. So this is now ready to go back to the owner, and I'll continue the fault finding and testing on the other 2 machines. Any comments are welcome. If there's something in particular you want me to show or test on the Wrens, then let me know. And what I have planned for the future, once I've got them all repaired, is to do some experimentation, attach various bits of hardware and have a bit of fun with it. As I say, anything in particular you want to have a look at, then please let me know.